So let's see. I woke up this morning and got a really, really long troll screed by this angry fat fanboy who lives in mommy's basement. Just a second, I'll tell you who he is because it is. Right, just a second, guys, I'm coming. Okay, so let me do this, and we will. All right. So, all right, I'll tell you who it was. Hopefully, this phone picked it up. Well, not that one. Come on. Oh, Jesus. Albums. Okay, so no, it didn't pick it up. Anyway, of basically a fandom menace, bitter dead ender, trying to throw out links to articles that don't mean anything. I looked at them and it's like, that is just a rumor. Okay. And I'm looking at it going, what? Trying to figure out what the point was, this guy's point. But he was there defending Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, and of course WW Pro. And when I say I'm taking flack, I've got, the SJWs are terrified that their dear, sweet Ray movie won't be made, which I'm like this. It's not happening. There's no movement on it. I mean, what was it? Yesterday I was on another channel and the channel owner basically said, well, Daisy did talk about she was going to see a script next month. It's like, they're not writing any script. The so-called writer that they chose for it is making Peaky Blinders, so maybe they got a new writer, but they're not making a script. I got another, and it's the shit. Hey, Dave, how you doing? The shit people believe because, and it doesn't matter, be they so-called fandom menace, which they're not. I mean, Ethan Van Sciver totally called out Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy Briggs as being, just as bad as the SJWs. They're out there canceling people right and left because they don't like what you have to say, or they don't like what that, the news is that they're getting and all the rest of this shit. And, I just go merrily along, and when there's something really good, I'll tell you about it. And of course, okay, we'll see. Hopefully the new ones will load so I can at least tell you who this fucker is. I don't know, Dave. Daisy actually, here's the deal. Journalists nowadays are dumb and they're biased and they don't do things to be, they don't write stuff out there. They don't put stuff out there to tell the truth, to put the facts out there so you can decide for yourself how you feel about something. They want to form a narrative. And what we have going on here with Gary Nerdrotic with this insensate Star Wars is dead, there's that shit. What we have going on here is the guys that are putting this stuff out there, and of course there were links that this person put there, everything, and it's like that doesn't mean anything. They're forming a narrative because they want the money. It's all about the money. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's like, you know, what was it, a week ago, when both Gary and Jeremy were patting each other on the back, basically telling the planet that they forced Mark Hamill to admit he had a granddaughter. And he's been seeing her for, I think, for a long time now. A lot longer than, you know, whatever. And it's like, far be it from me to point it out, but I will. The longer you yell, scream, and shout, rant and rave about stuff, the dumber you look, okay? And the more ridiculous you look, and the fact that you didn't do your research, okay? You let your little bitch boys come on to my channel, and it's a post that long. I took screenshots. I gave them to a friend of mine. I haven't given them to Kamran yet, but because I deleted it, I didn't want it on my channel. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And when you read it, you kind of look at it like it was written by a 12-year-old. It was written by somebody with no maturity at all. And what the problem that we have with, I think, people nowadays is that they don't know how to dissect and to separate the wheat from the chaff when they get information. You know, I could, you know, my Capitol Hill experience, you know, get phone calls from all over the United States from people demanding my boss do this because he said this, and it's like, no, he didn't. Okay. But blah, blah, blah said he did. It's like, no, he didn't. Okay, and it's this kind of shit, but now it's snowballed into this thing here on YouTube. Okay. They, you know, WDW Pro insists he has contacts. He doesn't have any contacts. And he doesn't have the courage enough to basically say, this is a rumor, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so now this is about the Jon Favreau. I basically call the Favreau's leaving stupidity rumor from Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, That Park Place, and I mean even Doomcock as Al Capone's vault. Okay, and that's what it is. I mean, there's nothing to it. You know, so they moved the goalpost to this part. Well, he's going to make the Mando and Grogu movie, and then he's leaving. Because that's convenient. Then they can still say he's leaving, and then they can come up with another thing to move the goalpost back when he doesn't. Okay? It's like, why do people believe them? Look, Jeremy and Gary got the Mark Hamill thing wrong. Neither of them apologized. Neither of them said, we didn't know that, we're sorry, you know, and cringed. Both were like on their channels, patting themselves on the back, thinking they forced Luke Skywalker to do it. It's like, what? He doesn't even know you exist. And if he did, he'd be disgusted with you. All right? And it's not because it's not because of your politics. It's the way you behave. Okay? It's the way that, you know, it's the way they act. And Dave, can you watch this guy? Thanks. And it's one of these things where you're like, you know, you guys stop it. You had nothing to do with this. You know, oh, thanks, Cross. And now we've got, you know, I really wish I could sync this other phone up with this, because you guys would laugh. It won't sync, it won't finish, it won't sync up. And I don't know what to do with it. Now, I did send it to a contact of mine, and it's like, I don't know how he'll feel about it, but you need to have, and I've learned this, I have everything that I've ever been sent from every asshole on that side of the fandom. Screenshot it. Okay, including disgusting things from a certain pair of dudes, and because they were pissed off at me because I was being complimentary to the book of Boba Fett. All right, I don't like the Skittles Bikers game, but I also didn't hate the show. And people like that don't understand things. And so, you know, one of them will make something up, make some shit up. All right. And then they'll all run with it. And it's a circle jerk. Okay. It's a circle jerk. And then they wonder why Ethan Van Sciver monetizes them. Because basically they're getting what they dished out to people and they can't deal with it. You know, they really can't, they can't deal with it. So I got the screen and I'm literally like, what the fuck? And the reason why it's just like, you've got to be kidding me kind of things is because it was bullshit. I knew it was bullshit. You all know it's bullshit. And there you go. I mean, it, you know, John, he's leaving after the movie. It's like, and then somebody else coming and going, but Kathy's got something she's doing. A movie she's doing. Yeah, it's called Twisters. So instead of demanding that we all believe she's still there, doing anything with any power at all, why don't you go and try to figure out why she didn't get fired for working with her husband on Twisters for Universal? Okay, because she's a producer of that. All right, go figure that one out, because Victoria Alonso got fired for doing the same exact thing. What it looks like to me is that they let her do it so she leaves Star Wars alone, so she leaves John alone. Okay, and you know, like I said yesterday to my friend on the other channel, you know, she's done in October no matter what. They've not re-signed her to a contract. Her last movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, was the biggest flop, if not the biggest flop in the history of filmmaking. All right, and it was her fault. All the shit she wanted, her fault. Okay, so, and that was one rumor that Doomcock got right. So then, you know, we've got her working on Twisters. Why is she working on Twisters if she's the president of Lucasfilm? That'd be like George Lucas going to help produce The Age of Innocence with Martin Scorsese, or something like that, or the Michael Douglas Glenn Close movie, and I can't think of it, the name of it, Presumed Innocent with Harrison Ford and Brian Dennehy. All right, it's like he had his own thing he had to do, and he's not gonna walk away from, you know, making Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, or getting ready to gear up to make Last Crusade, to make another movie for another company. Okay, all right. So what is she doing? Fatal Attraction, thank you. Why do I always, anyway. So it's like, you're kind of looking at these people going, why didn't you bring that up? Why does she get the chance to make Twisters and she's still the, quote unquote, the president of Lucasfilm? All right, it doesn't make any sense if she still has any. Yeah, it was. Kyle Olsen hit the nail on the head. So I get shit. All right, and look, I want you guys to understand. All right, this isn't just, you know, the flying monkeys that were unleashed from Pablo. All right, that are probably watching right now. The flying monkeys, Yes, she did get fired for that. So why isn't Kennedy? All right. The flying monkeys from the fandom menace are pissed off too, because for some reason they want to hold the horror, the misery close to themselves, right? All right, and they need to believe these guys. And to me, I look at either side and it's like they're both cults. They're both cults. One cult in tribal. And the people that want, and Dave's got a good question there. None, Dave, none. No other studio presidents have ever made movies outside of that studio. Okay. The reason why I say they're cults is that, you've got Gary, do they have like a drinking game where he says Star Wars is dead and they take a shot? Or maybe it's like, peace be with you, inshallah, or whatever, and then they all prostrate themselves. Is that what that is? Some sort of secret word, handshake or some shit. Now on the other side, you've got the fake imagery of Kathleen Kennedy actually on her own being a successful producer and studio head. When you start looking at all the movies that were made, that she was part of, and then you see the names: John Milius, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Martin Scorsese, Clint Eastwood, and others. Okay, Robert Zemeckis, and others. Okay, no, she wasn't. And the idea that somehow she broke a glass ceiling is bullshit, but they need to believe it. Look, that side has a poor put upon me victimology thing going on if they're women, which is bullshit. And no, I'm not saying she's actively involved, but the fact that her name just appeared in that executive producer, kind of made me go, what the fuck? Kind of made me go, why this now? How come in the last 10 years, nothing like that happened? She didn't even do anything with her company, with her production studio, with Frank, Kennedy Marshall Company, okay? Nothing. So you're sitting there looking at him, and you're shaking, got your head down, and you're like, here's another one, guys, if you want to get rid of this fucker. So where's she been? All right? She shows up to the Writers Guild Awards, and it's like, that's it? I mean, that's the first time she's actually been seen in public at an event since, I think, the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny premiere in Los Angeles, where Spielberg crushed her like the cockroach that she is. Okay? But again, you've got one side ignoring it, probably, rationalizing. Steven's in his 70s. He probably forgot she was there. He's looking right at her. No, by the way, so is Harrison Ford. And George has got this look on his face like, I really don't want to be here, And she uses him as a crash helmet. She wanted to hide behind him. And, it's like, what? Then we got this side who took that was a canceling as, oh yeah, I mean, Dave Pensack is right. Took the canceling, ran with it like they should have, and then didn't understand what it meant. Okay. You've got so much evidence, and a lot of it's the lack of her presence in the public to make you shake your go, what? I mean, look, I asked that Thwip dude on Twitter, actually, he does really good leaking on Twitter. Okay. He does a lot of really good stuff with DC Comics, but he also does stuff with Lucasfilm. And I asked him about, what, I didn't say sparrow, I just said, this is what we've heard, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yes, that's what's happening. Okay, and this guy's usually right. And then we've got Matt Bellany, right on his podcast saying she's not woke, and I'm still like trying to like put that into a category because I'm really not. I'm trying to mull that over because I'm like, what? That, but he implies when you read what he said, she's incompetent. So so let's go. Okay, she's not woke. She has to be talked into different things like the crap and Andor and all the rest of it. Oh yeah, I mean Kyle's right. I mean that's the thing, and here's the problem that Nerdrotic and Jeremy and the rest love to put out there. They are conspiracy theorists, and I don't mean. I recognize this pattern, and it doesn't seem right. I mean, that's me. They are tinfoil hat wearing, Earth is flat, chemtrails, chemicals turn frogs gay, Alex Jones types. Okay. And they really think BlackRock is giving Disney money in order to keep going so they can stay woke. And it's like, Jesus Christ. BlackRock, they might have trillions all over the world invested, but they also laid off like 500 people last year. Okay, so, and, you talk about Vanguard. Tim Buckley basically said that DEI doesn't pay for anything. Doesn't really pay. It's not a good investment. It's in the news. Go look it up. Okay, so you're looking at these guys, and they did it. And Cross is right. They did have Alex Jones on. I look at Alex Jones and think, for every time you might have been right about something, there were 50,000 things that came out of your mouth that just scared people. It was misinformation, and you put it out there because you make money at it. Okay. And that guy, he's just an awful person. I mean, he's just awful. Okay. And they had him on. Okay, so why wouldn't they be tinfoil hat wearing, chemtrails believing, whatever? So you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to look at Klaus Schwab and say, you want one world government. That's not a conspiracy anymore. It's out there. Okay. And it's like, but these guys are like, what? They don't know anything about business. All right. BlackRock can say all they want, but at the end of the day, they've got to answer to the investors that invest with them, the people that have their pensions with them. And that's a kind of a big deal. Okay, that's kind of a big deal. And the idea that they don't care if Disney fails is fucking ludicrous. Okay, look, the only reason why Wall Street wanted Iger, it wasn't because he's woke. He's not woke. Anybody who says he's woke, he's a politician. That's like looking at Chuck Schumer and thinking he supports the Jewish state. All right, he's demanding new elections in Israel so they can get rid of Bibi Netanyahu because he doesn't like how it's like, oh, fuck, stop putting labels on people when you don't know them. and you haven't thought about it. Okay, is George W. Bush, anti-abortion? Well, he says he is. Did he ever push to get Roe versus Wade overturned? No. Did he ever get, and his dad was the one that had Justice Kennedy put on the court. And then ever the milk toast, coffee stirrer backbone of a justice, it's Kennedy right there. Okay, and that was George H.W. Bush's guy. Okay, so when you look at a politician and they say something, and I'm not talking about Reagan or President Trump or my old boss, Mr. Army, when they said something, that was their conviction. Okay, Donald Trump is the only president to actually go to the March for Life and address the crowd. Go up to the podium and address the crowd. W never did it. Reagan didn't do it. Okay, so when you've got people like that, and you got to think: do they really think that? No, they don't. They don't think it. Okay, do they really believe that woke is the best way to go? Well, 2017, 2016, when it, after Donald Trump won, and, Donald Trump won, woke just blew up. It was like a hard left reaction to the presidency, and they were pissed. I mean, all these old Democrats are pissed because, he had been a Democrat. He had been he was a Kennedy Democrat. Okay, that turns into a libertarian type Republican, and there it goes again. I hope you guys can hear that. I'm not gonna turn it off because if I do, then I'll wreck it. And it's a thing it took me about 3 hours to calibrate the piece of shit. Okay, so there you go. Anyway, so is Bob Iger woke? No. And that, you look at what, Matt Bellany said, and it's like, I'm not sure if she's completely unwoke, but she might not be as woke as we think, but the people she hires are. Okay, I mean, what she did to, like, Gina Carano proves that she has a massive jealous streak, and she's a venomous woman. Okay, jealous, envious, and immediately wanted to get rid of her. And it's like, she's one of the best things that's come to Star Wars in a long time. And of course, it took a man to hire her because Kennedy never would have. And, Kojak, come on, leave Daddy alone. So it's like, this is what I think. All right, I'm revising my feelings about Kathleen Kennedy. She's incompetent, she's dumber than dirt, and she's an angry, bitter feminist of the Jane Fonda variety. Okay, there you go. All right, is she woke? She allows wokeness around her, but that's it. Okay, she didn't rein in the crazies that worked for her. Okay, the Rain Roberts, the Pablo's, his wife, the Matt Martins, etc. She didn't tell him to knock it off. All right. So it's like, when I see stuff like that, like the stuff that's lately come out, Favreau's leaving, and then he's leaving after the movie's done. Okay. I'll see you at church. Mm-hmm. Lalu.
Be careful.
Yeah, I will be. Hi, Kojak. Come here. Good boy. So, you know, when you're like, where are you getting this? And that screed, let me look. DEI was an investment mistake. You're right about that, Kyle. I can't. Oh, okay, wait a second. I know where I can get these. I know where they are. So I'll tell you who the person was. Okay. I sent them to him, and this is who the guy is. At RPG Adventurer 32. And it's this. It's this. It's this with the lovely link. The direct. And everybody knows the direct. I mean, the direct. Really? I mean, you know, well, yeah, and Kyle's right about that. So this guy, RPG Adventurer 32, shows up and puts. You guys saw how big the thing was. I'm not going to bore you with what he said, but because all you got to do is just even go on to Nerdrotic's Twitter feed and look and go, because that's all this is. Again, people like this person that posted this need to believe the worst, and they need to believe the conspiracy theory because nothing in their world makes sense. Again, it's a cult. I mean, this part of the fandom is a cult. Okay, I learned a long time ago to separate the man from the words. Okay, I learned a long time ago that when you meet someone you admired, you probably if you really put them up on a pedestal, you'll probably be disappointed. So, you know, I could have met Ronald Reagan, and I probably would not have been that disappointed. But you realize they're human. Okay. So Gary's got himself in a spot on his little pedestal, and he's got dumbasses like this wandering around. All right. And they're demanding that we all bow down to him because he's right. He's never wrong. You know, and it's like that with Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers. I mean, oh my God. Go when you're done here, go and watch Ethan Van Sciver's dragging of Jeremy video today. It was hilarious. And yes, Jeremy got, okay, see you, Dave. Jeremy got his puppet, and it turned into a blue-haired land whale. And I mean, even to the point where it was wearing a dress. The reason why is because they're being ridiculous. It's like they're acting like the people they hate. But again, you know, as Nietzsche said, if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss will stare back at you. If you go hunting monsters, beware of hunting monsters lest you become one. There you go. So we got the cult of Jeremy and Gary and the fandom menace, and you've got the SJWs over here and worshiping the crown Kathleen Kennedy walks on. And you got the fans who just want this bullshit over so we can enjoy it again. The Gary cult, the Nerdrotic cult, they don't want you to enjoy anything. Okay? They don't want anybody to enjoy anything. All right? They don't. Reason why? Because the moment you start liking something that becomes the problem for them because they don't start making money from it. These guys want you gone out of the fandom. All right, there's nothing to replace you because no one likes their shit, but they want you gone out of the fandom. Do you see how this is working? So, despite you know, the screaming that Ahsoka didn't do well, it was gaining numbers every week. The more I watched it, and I've seen the whole show now like 3 times. Binged it one day just because I was bored. I mean, it's not bad. Again, my problems are Sabine. Harrison Dula, and Jason. Those three characters either have to be bridled and their mouths taped up, not front and center, or kill them off, because there's no reason for either of them. Ahsoka doesn't need Sabine to find that peak that Balin was watching at the end of it. It's just like Kenobi didn't need Reva, okay? They could have had it played by a man. That part could have been played by a man. There's nothing wrong with that. Or a better actress. And the things that these far lefty SJWs do is they will commit the soft racism of lower expectations, put someone who's not qualified to be in a place, and then when they fail, blame them. That's what they did. But they use her as a token, Moses Ingram, to attack fans going, couldn't you find a better actress? You know, and look, I'm not saying anything about her color, but if you did that, you were therefore a racist. If you don't think she did a very good job, therefore you are a racist. You know, I honestly think Vader should have just killed her. He would, in reality, that was the part I was like, kill her. But instead, he just did to her what she did to the her boss. Anyway, so you're watching all this stuff, and you're going, there was good in both. I know it, you know, despite the maddening screaming and ranting and raving about it breaking canon, it didn't break canon. Go back and watch A New Hope. When Luke goes in to Leia's cell to get her, she says, Ben Kenobi, like she's excited. Like, I'm gonna see my friend again. All right, it's not like, I think your reaction would be way different if you didn't know who he was, if you hadn't met him before. If you didn't, and the way she reacts is like, I've been in this situation before, and he's come for me. Okay, so they were consistent with that. So how does Leia getting kidnapped affect the canon? It doesn't. And you got to remember, and I'm telling all these assholes, Luke had never been off planet until he jumped on the Millennium Falcon to escape. He'd never been off planet. Okay, that's why he wants to leave, because he's bored. He's in this little pissant part of the galaxy. He wants out. He's got a lot of Anakin in him. And you kind of go, why do you, what? So they were wrong about that. But they sold people a bill of goods. It broke canon because yada, 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 yada. And why wasn't it Luke being kidnapped by Reva? Because Reva didn't know he existed. Because Luke was very anonymous. In fact, no one in their right mind would ever think that kid was Anakin Skywalker's son. Okay? And you're kind of going, oh, did you guys even watch the movies? What? So that's a line of bullshit that was sold by the Phantom Menace cult. Then you've got the stuff that was wrong with Ahsoka. Like, my favorite, the rumor that Doomcock broke that never came to fruition, Ahsoka was going to kill the Force. Remember that? Watch the show. You're looking at him like, do you have anything to say about that? Not a word. Now, oops, we got that one wrong, folks. Not a word. Okay. And again, you know, Gary attacking Mark Hamill and Jeremy Griggs attacking Mark, and then coming to find out through the mother of the kid that they've been seeing each other for years now, and that Mark is fully invested in that child's life. Crickets. Instead of saying, oh, we got it bad, we're sorry. See what we did? See what we did? You know, we got him to go and admit he had a granddaughter, now he's seeing her. They actually think they did something, that they were the reason for that. That's a problem. Okay. No, they didn't. Okay. No, they had nothing to do with that. Okay. And it boggles the mind. People actually allow them, without question, to think they did something to help. Okay. It boggles the mind. All right. And, you know, they had nothing to do with that, with reconciling that kid with her grandparents and her father's family. Nothing to do with it. Okay. It going public and Mark getting shit from probably all sides, including close friends, including one guy with a bunch of kids who's got grandchildren, going, what the fuck are you doing, Mark? You know, kind of uncool. That's probably what kind of forced them to take a different, to look at the issue differently. Okay. But damn it, Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers were the ones that forced Mark to do this. And then they get, you know, Gary gets bitch slapped by Megan, the mom. And, you know, I didn't do my research. I didn't go, okay, what's really going on here? Because it never occurred to me that that would actually be resolved. When it was, I was like, oh shit, okay, my bad, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. There you go. Because that's what you do. I mean, that's what you do. Now we've got the Al Capone's vault of Star Wars. Jon Favreau is leaving. So it went from he left last summer to he had to make an announcement that they're making Mando and Grogu. It's going to start filming on the 17th of June. To he's leaving now, to move it back till he's leaving after the movie's done. Because they can't say they're wrong. They can, because look, yeah, and Kyle's right. I mean, Kyle's right. If you and these people don't know how to do research. They don't do their due diligence before they open up their mouths. Okay, they don't know how to do anything but react. Okay, they don't. And they're all just, and they all cling together. It's really weird, but it is a cult. It is a cult. See that bitch, Tyrone? That's a tracheotomy scar. I almost died of pneumonia in 1987. My lungs are scarred and it screwed up my vocal cords. So you, sir, can go fuck yourself in the ass. Get the fuck off my channel. There. All right. I'm really sick and tired of that. I'm really sick and tired. And I don't normally explain myself, but because I don't have to. But that guy came from the Pablo Hidalgo circle jerk, okay? Or he came from, you know, the Gary Nerdrotic circle jerk, whichever cult. They're pissed off because they don't want to hear a different viewpoint. They're pissed off because they see their views going down, and the only way they make money is to go live, because they're not making shit now, okay, on their uploads, okay? And I find it ironic and funny how fucking low they go for views, okay? We were the ones that made Mark Hamill go back and reconcile with his granddaughter. No, you fucking weren't, you bozos. He don't know. He doesn't know who the fuck you are. And if he, I mean, well, Cross, yeah, they do. And a lot of them believe that they're very good Christians, at least on the Gary side. And, they're such good Christians that they drive off the only person in the fandom that actually has connections, who is actually a Hollywood insider, because what? He's not like them. He's, of a different religion. I mean, I look at when WDW Pro threatened, and it was disgusting, Kamran. Okay, he should have been kicked out of the club. I didn't make a screenshot, but I know Cross was in the chat, and I was literally like, who the fuck do you think you are? And when you start peeling back the onion of some of these guys, they're absolute fucking nobodies, and they never have been anybody. They've never been popular. They've never, had any adulation whatsoever. Yep, that's the truth. Yep, that's exactly what he said. And you're watching him going, what the fuck? Then you confront a big YouTuber, I'm not gonna say who it was, and say, this guy threatened Kamran on my channel. Didn't give a shit. Said he's upset about it, but Pro still says what he says. Okay? And it's like, you sit there, you look at him, and you're like, you let him get away with this? You let him get away with this? And the reason why isn't because anybody's married to the facts. The fact is, I was doing a video, and look, it's a live video. You could probably find it. Me going off on him. And if you watch it, hopefully maybe even the chat will come up, so you can actually see what he said in real time. I was horrified, and I think that's about the last time I ever talked to that guy. All right? You can't keep doing this. All right? When the narrative, the facts start to change, when the facts start to go from this is happening to this person's leaving, this person's coming in, it's not going to be like the same thing, but they're coming in, this person's out, this person's retiring, making other movies. You have to be ready to go, oh wow, okay, this is interesting. Instead of, Star Wars is dead, everybody drink, I mean, that's what that is though. Then you got this side with the flying monkeys, who, you can tell that they're nervous about something because of the way they're behaving right now. Okay, you can tell that they're scared because look, from what Sparrow told Kamran, basically all these people that we hate ended up, bowing the knee to Favreau, and to show loyalty to him and not to Kathy. Now, I'm going to say this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I got to go pretty soon. I can't take it anymore, okay? And I got to go anyway. Would you keep these people who have continuously attacked the fans over and over and over again? Would you keep them? No, you wouldn't. Okay, Mads, that's all right. No, you wouldn't. Even if they did say, yes, we'll follow you, Master, everywhere. You know, what is thy bidding, my master? And the reason why is because you can't trust them, okay? And if I was John, I would want my own people in those spots. I'd want people who are real Star Wars fans, not activists. What is the rule about activists? They don't make good creatives, okay? Jane Fonda's acting fell when she got into her activist phase. She wasn't as good as she used to be. Is Helen Mirren an activist? No. She's a great actress. Okay. So, there you go. I mean, I don't like having people show up on my channel. I mean, with a fucking link to the direct. Like, no, okay? Absolutely not. This is not what's going on. Okay, it is not. All right. So I gotta go because I gotta get ready for church. My husband, as you know, my husband was out the door because he goes earlier than he used to because our priest, our pastor, has has had some health issues and he's out for a while. And the parochial vicar has to do everything. And so Rudy's there to help him. There you go. Anyway, you guys have a good Saturday. And this is just the beginning of the shitstorm. Because their views are diminishing, their cash flow's imploding, and the only way they can get eyes on a video is to scream Star Wars is dead, Favreau's leaving, and stand in front of the story like, you know, Geraldo Rivera stood in front of the vault. It's Al Capone's vault. Okay. Steph, sending out. I'll see you around the galaxy.